So how did we end up in this war? Well, you remember there was that pandemic? Yes, I've got COVID now. Everyone's got COVID now. The point is, there was a time when we were trying to stop people getting COVID. I can see why. I mean, I'm not a fan. I had Omicron, that was alright, but then we had Sigma and Omega, they were not fun. And then we're now onto the Cookie Monster variant? Yes, I like the way they've gone with Sesame Street now. It makes the end of the world seem a lot cheerier. Big Bird killed my parents. I'm very sorry. The point is, during that time there was a lockdown, except it turned out that the Prime Minister and his staff were having fairly regular parties. And that was against the rules? Well, that was the question. They set up an inquiry led by Sue Gray, and she was meant to answer it. And did she? She didn't get a chance, because more and more stories of parties came out, to the point where it seemed that no one in Downing Street was ever sober. Right. So some Tory MPs decided that enough was enough. They started talking about a vote of no confidence. Sounds fair. But the Whip's office threatened and blackmailed them by saying that if they supported a no confidence vote, they'd lose funding for their local constituencies. Is that allowed? Not really. Number 10 said there was no evidence of this, but under pressure they set up a new inquiry led by Sue Black, Sue Gray's even tougher colleague. Right, but where does the war come in? I'm coming to that. So, things quietened down for a bit, but then a new scandal erupted. Something about Boris Johnson snogging a nurse when he was meant to be isolating. Gosh. So then the Tory party got even more upset. And, at the same time, Vladimir Putin was threatening to invade Ukraine. Plot twist? Quite. So then the government were like, well, you wouldn't have a no-confidence vote if we engaged in military action, would you? Really? So they launched a preemptive missile attack against the Russians. But we're not at war. Let me finish. But the missiles were made by a Tory party donor who'd only previously made wooden toys and PPE, so they malfunctioned and landed on parts of Germany, France and Bulgaria instead. That makes more sense. And the EU were like, well, obviously that was a mistake, yeah? But the ERG, who? The ones who seemed too mad even for the Tory party. Wow. They were like, no, Europe has always been our real enemy, and the Prime Minister just didn't have the votes without their support, so he declared war on the EU. So all this chaos was caused by the internal politics of the Conservative Party? Yes. What about the other parties? Why didn't they do something? They decided they couldn't be seen to be against the government at a time of national crisis, but they did express strong reservations. That's a lot to take in. But hang on, what happened to Sue Gray? Turns out she never existed.